Welcome to the Flourish.Academy podcast. My name is Heather Lottinen, and I'm joined by my good friend, Mara Chick. We both really enjoy reading books, and our mission is to help others grow professionally and personally. But we noticed that when we recommend our favorite books to our friends and colleagues, they really did not have the time to read them.
Well, I'm not sure why. They should listen to us. So on this podcast, we do the reading so that you can focus on your business. We will give you a breakdown on the books that we explore, offering differing viewpoints and tips on how to take action.
And today we are continuing our discussion on The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy.
Okay, let's get started. We're moving into chapter 2, choices. Oh, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, from the book. You make your choices, and then your choices make you. Every decision, no matter how slight, alters the trajectory of your life. I love that word, trajectory. It's one of my favorite words. Your biggest challenge is that you've been sleepwalking through your choices. Half the time, you're not even aware you're making them. Our choices are often shaped by our culture and upbringing. They can be so entwined in our routine behaviors and habits that they seem beyond our control. For instance, have you ever been going about your business, enjoying your life, when all of a sudden you make a stupid choice or a series of small choices that ultimately sabotage your hard work and momentum, all for no apparent reason? Ooh.
No apparent reason.
No apparent reason.
No.
But
He goes on to say, I love this, be careful about stumbling into idiot territory. That's great.
I've been in idiot territory.
We all have, for
for
sure.
Yes, absolutely.
For sure. Choices. I was reading something the other day that said every minute, every second of every day, you're making a choice. And those choices matter. Every choice you make matters because it's either propelling you forward or sending you backward. Every choice.
Yes.
That can get a little heavy feeling if you put too much weight on it. I mean, don't let it drag you down, but I'm going to be more aware of my choices. Even the seemingly insignificant ones, I think is what he's talking about.
Oh, yes. Those choices that you don't think matter, they actually do. And they may matter more than some of your bigger choices because you just instinctively don't know that you're making them. And you're just like, oh, okay, I'm going to eat that extra piece of pizza.
Or that they affect you.
Yeah, you just don't realize it.
You cannot sleepwalk through these choices. And it is so true that you need to wake up. Make sure you're aware that you're making them because have you ever driven to Walmart and then realized, how did I get here?
All the time. I'm like, wait, did I stop at that stoplight?
You can't even recall.
I don't even remember.
That's life.
Yes.
Sleepwalking through life.
Yes.
It's so important to be careful. Hey, let me ask you, have you ever been bitten by an elephant?
Yes, I have. Yes, I went to the zoo once and I tried to feed the elephant and it came charging at me and bit me.
Shut up. No, you haven't. You have not been bitten by an elephant.
How do you know?
Okay. You have not been bitten
I have not been bitten by an elephant.
But have you been bitten by a mosquito?
Sure.
All right.
No, I haven't been bitten.
I love how you mess with me. But from the book, Darren says it's the little things in life that bite you. Occasionally, we see big mistakes threaten to destroy a career or reputation in an instant, such as a famous comedian who rants racial slurs during a stand-up routine, or an anti-gay rights senator caught soliciting gay sex, an admired female tennis player who uncharacteristically threatens an official with a tirade of expletives. Clearly, these types of poor choices have major repercussions. But even if you've pulled such a whopper in your past, it's not extraordinary, massive steps backwards or the tragic single moments that we're concerned with here. For most of us, it's the frequent, small, and seemingly inconsequential choices that are of grave concern. I'm talking about the decisions that you don't think make a difference. So going back to our previous episode, we talked about the gentleman who would watch the Food Network and then ended up divorced.
You ended up like 10 years later.
Right, yeah. You don't think that those
Yes.
small choices matter that much, but they do.
Do you know, I just, I don't watch the news because I know that it's leading me down like a negative mindset that it's hard for me to get out of, thinking like the world's coming to an end. Because if you watch the news, it's like
Awful.
Everything is miserable. No one's happy. Killings and guns. And but I can't get my husband to realize like that input. Like he just wants to watch the news, something that he sees as insignificant, something that everybody does. It changes the way you view everything. And so I refuse. What I do when he goes to turn on the news is I go up and read my books.
Because you have recognized that input equals output. So whatever you're putting into your brain, garbage in.
Yep, garbage out. We'll talk about that later in the book. Ooh.
Whoa. Very good. Very good.
Okay, back to the book. It's easy to point fingers at others, isn't it? And this is my favorite. Like, I love this topic.
Okay.
I broke from the book for a second. That was not Darren talking.
All
That
right.
was Mara talking.
That was you. Okay.
Okay, let me go back. It's easy to point fingers at others, isn't it? I'm not getting ahead because of my lame boss. I would have gotten that promotion if it hadn't been for that backstabbing coworker. I'm always in a bad mood because my kids are driving me crazy. We're particularly gifted in their finger-pointing department when it comes to our romantic relationships, you know, where the other person is the one who needs to change. Ooh.
The other person needs help. So this is about casting blame. And it's all outward facing.
Yes. We're constantly complaining that it's somebody else's fault, that this didn't happen for us, not realizing that we have to own what we do. Everything. I take responsibility for everything. You know, it's like one thing about me, my husband suffers from like clinical depression, like something literally just snaps off in his brain. Everything becomes difficult for him. He just sits around. And for me, for so long, the first, year of our marriage, I was trying to figure out ways to change him or make him better or fix him. You can't really fix anybody that has that issue. And then I learned, okay, I can't change him, but I can change me. I'm going to own my part in this relationship, and I'm going to learn how to live with somebody that has depression. And so I did. I learned how to live with him and support him because I took my role in that. Like, he's the person I'm supposed to be with. I really believe that. And these struggles just make us stronger as a couple. But like, I own that. Like, my job in the relationship is not just to point fingers at him. It's to love him and be by his side. Yeah.
That is incredibly impressive and inspirational because you could have been miserable.
Oh, everyone was saying, Mara, just leave him, get divorced. Like, it's not. And I'm like, well, we just got married. I love this man. I can't.
Right.
We can't. When we said in sickness and in health, I sure as heck meant that. And I'm not. I'm gonna stand there and just say, okay, it got hard. I'm ending this. That's not the way I function. I'm gonna take my role in this and figure out how I can survive in this relationship.
You focused on what you could do, not on what you couldn't do.
Right.
And you're right. Everyone was telling you to get divorced except for
you.
I was incredibly inspired by your act of bravery to say, okay, I cannot fix him. I can only work on myself.
Right.
I'm going to own 100% of this. This is my responsibility. I heard somewhere once that life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it. So yeah, it can stink. You can be in a really difficult situation. You can be even in a victim situation, a victimized, but you don't have to be a victim. Right. You can say, okay, I'm responsible. I own. When I work with a lot of women, and if something is going wrong, I will say to them, of course I have a heart and I will empathize, but at some point I will say, what's your role in this?
All the time.
Owning.
I always think back to my corporate days when I was slaving away at corporate America. I mean, I did not enjoy my job. I mean, I can go as far to say as I ended up hating my job because I knew what I wanted to do was be my own boss and entrepreneur and build my business. But I had to reframe how I was thinking about it. I took ownership of that job and realized that it gave me the cash to invest in my business, and it brought me to where I am today. So I can look back on it and say, yeah, I reframed my mind and decided, what's my role in this? How am I going to own this for me and get through it without being miserable?
Because again, you focused on what you could control.
Yeah.
And you could control your reaction to it. And you said, okay, what does this make possible? I'm in a very miserable situation. I actually learned this from listening to Michael Hyatt. I think his wife says this, where whenever you find yourself somewhere uncomfortable, you don't like, you ask yourself, what does this make possible? So let's say you miss a flight and you're miserable. Okay, what does this make possible? What can I do instead? So the key there, what you said, so impactful, reframe. Reframe it. Let's reframe your thinking. Is there a different way to view this? How can you focus on what's good and not what's bad? Because what you focus on, you will feel, and what you focus on will grow.
Bam.
That's Tony Robbins.
Write that
Okay,
down.
I have in the same section that you're in.
Yes.
About owning 100%. Yes. I'm going to go to this part about marriage. He was in a seminar and he was a teenager. This is the author, Darren Hardy. And the speaker asked, what percentage of shared responsibility do you have in making a relationship work? I was a teenager, so wise in the ways of true love, so of course I had all of the answers. 50-50, I blurted out. It was so obvious. Both people must be willing to share the responsibility evenly or someone's getting ripped off. 51-49, yelled someone else, arguing that you'd have to be willing to do more than the other person. Aren't relationships built on self-sacrifice and generosity? 80-20, yelled another. The instructor turned to the easel and wrote 100-0 on the paper in big black letters. You have to be willing to give 100% with zero expectation of receiving anything in return, he said. Only when you're willing to take 100% responsibility for making the relationship work will it work. Otherwise, a relationship left to chance will always be vulnerable to disaster. 100%.
Well, you're not chancing anything. Do you think you've ever chanced anything? Do you always own everything?
It's just not in my nature to take chances. I'm risk averse. No, I don't hope for things. I make them happen.
You make them happen.
I mean, hope is good, but I make it happen. I just don't hope that things are going to happen. I don't hope that I'm going to have a good marriage or that my kids are going to be different. It's going to take work. Something you had said, I believe in the previous episode is about, oh, if my kids are driving me crazy or something. And when that happens to me, you know what my first thought is? My kids are driving me crazy. I'm falling down as a parent because it's my responsibility to make them so that they don't make people crazy. So if my kids are out of control, it is 100% my fault. If my kids have a messy bedroom, 100% my fault because I'm not parenting them. Not because I should be cleaning it up. Negative on that. But because I'm not teaching them how to take care of their things. It is my responsibility. If they suck, I'm on the hook. I'm their mom. That's my job. I own 100% of everything. Because if not me, then who?
Not me.
Not you.
Your kids don't annoy me, by the way.
Oh, my kids are awesome, but if they act like jerks, it's on me.
So next time they act like a jerk, I'll be like, "Yo, Heather, your kids are acting like jerks. Fix it."
I mean, but a lot of parents complain about their
Right.
kids,
Yes, they do.
and to me, I would say, what's your role in this?
Yeah.
The kids are kids.
You discipline, you raise your children. Like I think
You have to teach them.
My mom, I love my mom. My mom's hilarious. But
She's hardcore.
She was hard when we were younger. And I see why now. Like, look, like we're well-rounded girls. I have 2 sisters. And like, we're pretty awesome. And I give a lot of credit to her. I look
Because
up to her
she had to be tough.
Had to be the tough one, and that's okay. I always say to my clients, like, you're not supposed to be their friend now. You can be their friend when they're in their 20s or 30s.
Right.
And my mom and I are very close now. But when we were growing up, they don't consider us friends.
No.
No.
No. And I used to lead a marriage group at our church because I have a heart for marriages. And a lot of people seem to think that their husbands, I was speaking to women, should give as much as they give, to which I say, false. You need to give as much as you can give with zero expectation of anything in return. In fact, I found a book the other day. I just ordered it, so I haven't read it yet, but it's called It Takes One to Tango, How I Single-Handedly Saved My Marriage Without Help from My Spouse. Isn't that an interesting
That's
title?
interesting.
Yeah.
I love that.
So it's coming because I think it's fascinating, and I want to
Yes.
be able to help people with that problem.
Oh, expectations. We talk about that later in this book, and I have a very different opinion than what's expressed in this book. I'm nervous to get there, but
Okay.
it shall happen.
I am going to go to the book. There's a section about luck. And the author says, maybe you believe you're simply unlucky, but really that's just another excuse. The difference between becoming fabulously rich, happy, and healthy, or broke, depressed, and unhealthy is the choices you make throughout life. Nothing else will make the difference. Here's the thing about luck. We're all lucky. If you're on the right side of the dirt, have your health, and a little food in your cupboard, you are incredibly lucky. everyone has the opportunity to be lucky. Because beyond having the basics of health and sustenance, luck simply comes down to a series of choices. Do you consider yourself lucky?
No. I consider myself skilled.
Ooh.
And and I have perseverance and talent, and I can make things happen. I don't really believe in luck. It's just not something in my nature. I don't play the lottery. I don't do those kind of things. Like,
So something really unfortunate happened to you that really wasn't your fault. Would you ever say, "Oh, that's just my luck"?
no, I don't think.
No, I
I'm
don't
not
think
sure
you
that I've
would.
ever said that
I've
expression.
not heard you say it.
That's just my luck. No.
Have you heard people say it? Though?
Yes, I have heard people say it.
Okay,
it's
when
just
they
my
say
luck
that-
and well,
Is it?
is it really?
I mean, everybody- things
everyone just
happen.
things just happen. I mean,
Right.
there's not a reason behind things. Like someone rear ends you. Like, is that your fault? Are you unlucky? No, it just happens.
It just happened.
I mean, there's not a reason for everything. It's just stuff happens, and we have to learn how to deal with it. But we have a choice in
But
how
you
we
have a
look at
choice.
it, right? I mean,
Key. You have a choice.
we have
So
choice.
if somebody rear ends somebody and they say, "Oh, that's just my luck," I would say, "How about we reframe this? What does this make possible?
What does this make possible?
And how do we reframe this?" There's a different way to look at everything, obviously.
Yes.
When people ask me or say that I'm lucky, I say, "Yeah, you're right. I am, because I make it."
Yes.
Preparation and opportunity equals luck. You may have heard of that. You're prepared, and then the opportunity presents itself. And yeah, so I'm very, very lucky. But it's because I make it. It's choices. No, I don't believe in luck. There's awesome things happen to me because
there's
I prepare for it.
my favorite book that I've ever read is Success is Not an Accident by Tommy Newberry. And that book put a lot into perspective for me. And it's like, I'm successful because I work hard and I'm worthy of success, and I put effort and I make choices and decide, and it's not luck. There's no such thing as
luck.
Okay, back to the book. Darren starts talking about starting to track the things that you do, the choices you have to make, like tracking your money, tracking your activities.
Right. Yep.
Oh, goodness. So I'm going to get to like the part that I really resonated with. But it really is all about taking the time to look at, like, if you're trying to lose weight, what are you eating? What's your exercise routine like? What are you doing to get to that goal? And start tracking things, because when you see it, it helps you make better choices. Okay. So as he's talking about tracking your activities, he says, we're going to start off with an easy breezy tempo. Just track one habit for 1 week. Pick the habit that has the greatest control over you, and that's where we'll start. Once you begin reaping the rewards of the compound effect, you'll naturally want to introduce this practice into other areas of your life. In other words, you'll choose tracking.
Yeah.
So, do you track anything? Ooh, she wasn't ready for that question.
I wasn't ready.
Bing!
But when I'm struggling, what I will do is I have this time tracker sheet. And I think you've seen it. I've pulled it out before. Actually, I think I gave it to you. At one point we worked on it. But so what I do is if I'm struggling, I will write down everything I do from the minute I get up till I go to bed for about a week. And I'll look at it. And when you take a hard look at how you're spending your time,
Yes.
you will be embarrassed. I mean, I was.
People always, like, I think we make excuses a lot. Oh, I'm too busy. I never have time. I have a crazy schedule. I
Really?
own time.
I
Okay.
own time,
Someone
yeah.
asked me, like, I think someone said to you, how do you guys do it all?
I own
Like,
time.
I own time. That's mine. Okay. So if you're feeling like you don't have the time to do something, then start tracking what you're doing, from the biggest to the smallest things, like even spending 20 minutes on Facebook.
There it is.
Because what happens is you get sucked again into this rabbit hole, and then you don't realize, like, oh gosh, I'm looking at nonsense on Facebook for 30 minutes. And
or
then
more.
you could have been reading a book for 30 minutes. Hi.
Right, exactly. And I think that people are deceiving themselves. So you say you don't have time, but again, you binge watch the Netflix show. Or you go to bed late and you're tired, so you sleep in, and then it compounds.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are all of these tiny little things. That's what we're talking about. These small things that add up to ultimately disaster in this case.
Why do you keep mentioning the Netflix binging thing? Are you trying to get at something? Go ahead, say it.
It sounds like you have a guilty conscience over there. I'm not sure.
Moving on into the book now. Oh, goodness.
Yeah, so
me.
track your time.
Yeah, track
I have a
for
time
21
tracker.
days.
See see where
3 weeks.
you're
See
spending
where
your
you're going.
time.
Yeah.
And if don't lie on your time tracker because
Yeah.
you're just
You
deceiving
can't.
yourself.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Along those same lines, so he's talking about time and money in this particular chapter, chapter 2, wherein he talks about your coffee habits. Many people have a habit of maybe picking up a Starbucks every day, and it's called the latte factor. And actually, there's another book almost entirely about the latte factor. But essentially, it says that, you spend, he has it in the book, maybe, $4 or $5, $4, he says, on the way to work every day. But when you look at 3 weeks, 4 weeks, or a year, it's actually $1,000 a year. Or in 20 years, compounded, that's $51,833.79.
Ooh.
So how much do you really need to stop for that coffee? So this comes down to people also saying, I don't have money. But you have money to get a coffee every day. Or I don't have time, but you choose your time, you spend your time on social media. You just have to track it.
Yeah.
So to your point, which was write it down, track it. How are you spending your money? And again, it's okay to do things like this in moderation every once in a while, but coffee can be really expensive and it adds up. And he has a graph in the book to prove this compounding effect from year 1, which was $1,000, all the way to year 20, which was almost $52,000.
Ooh, that's a car.
Yeah,
Buy a car.
on coffee.
Or coffee. I'll take the coffee.
I
Thank
think
you.
so. The latte factor.
The latte factor. Okay, thank you. Okay, as we wrap up chapter 2, just a couple quick things, and then we'll give you our end strategies for chapter 2. So back into the book, it says the earlier you start making small changes, the more powerfully the compound effect works in your favor. Suppose your friend listened to Dave Ramsey's advice and began putting $250 a month into an IRA when she got her first job after graduating from college at age 23. You, on the other hand, don't start saving until you're 40. I will say I did not start saving when I got straight out of college.
Yeah.
And I wish I would have.
Yeah.
But the sooner you do it,
The better.
the better you reap your rewards. Okay, so we have 2 strategies for this chapter. My strategy is that I want you to be 100% accountable for everything that happens. So if you're late to work, take ownership of that. You should have left early. It wasn't the traffic. It wasn't the kids. You should have been more prepared. And I own that completely. I will make adjustments. If you had an uncomfortable situation at work, you need to own your role and stop pointing fingers, blaming.
Unless it's at yourself.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. Okay, Heather, what's your strategy?
Okay,
for
what I would like
chapter?
everyone to do is start tracking at least one behavior in one area of your life that you would like to change and improve. For example, money, nutrition, fitness, recognizing others, parenting, any area. I just want you to track one behavior in one area. I think for a lot of people, it's time or money.
Yeah.
Seems to be important to a lot of people, and an
Eating
issue.
habits and stuff.
Nutrition,
those are
fitness.
3 things, yeah.
So just take one of those behaviors in one area of your life and just track it. Just do it for a week and see if there's a way to improve. And even if you can just make the tiniest improvement, we will call that a micro win. I'm super into micro wins lately. Tiny little things that seem completely insignificant. Oh, I picked that up. I wiped that up, whatever. I'm like, I'm winning. Micro win. So what? I'm still winning.
Let's go for it.
I celebrate.
All right, that's all we have for today. Heather, how can everybody support our podcast?
Absolutely. You can subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. Please like, share, leave a review. It's very helpful. If you prefer video, you can also watch and subscribe to us on YouTube. We have our own channel. It's Flourish.Academy.tv.
Oh, so beautiful.
If you like the content, please share with your friends by posting on social media so that we can reach and help as many people as possible. And if you're interested in the books that we talk about, or if you shop on Amazon, please use our affiliate link because it helps Amazon, as we talk about all the time. It's changing lives.
It's changing my life.
Although I will say, if there's something that you can do to support your local economy or a small shop in your town,
I love small business shopping.
Go small business shopping first by all means. But if you have to shop on Amazon, using our link would be really helpful.
Thank you. All right, everybody. We'll catch you next time.